Hey guys, today I want to talk about a little bit of my journey with depression, and I want to use this video to kind of help you with your journey in depression and how maybe a little bit of my story, how you can take some of these things to help you with your journey to cope with your depression. So I hope this video is not too long, okay, but I'm going to start from the bottom. So first off, guys, my story with depression is like since I was a young kid, like very young, like since it was at my 10, 11 years old, I was always a different kid. Like I never really fit in anywhere in school. So my friends, they were always laughing and doing their own things, and no matter how hard I tried, it's like I could never belong there. I could never be part of it, and I would never fit in. So because of that, I was always isolating myself. And then to like I want to go straight to the point. I cannot really stretch too much, so the video is like an hour, so this video is not an hour. But basically, so at my young age I was very I was isolating myself. I didn't have any brothers or any siblings growing up as a child, and I was alone. So for the most part I was alone. So I was always lost, never really had any type of structure, never really had any type of friends or anything really. So it kind of started there. That's where it started. And then also I lived with my mom back then. So I didn't have a father, it was just my mom and me back then. And my mom, she had a depression. So she had a really dark depression, and it's something that I only realized on my like later years after I grew and I started understanding like how life worked a little more. I didn't realize that she had a huge depression. So her depression was like a big factor into my depression because again, my mom, she struggled a lot. She struggled with her relationships. She struggled with financially. She struggled with everything. And then because of that, some of her disappointments in life, she would kind of bring that into the home, and then whether she liked it or not, it would affect me as well, because I was always the type of person that would absorb a lot of things. So if you have a bad energy or a good energy, I'm gonna absorb it. And because she was always worried and stressed and everything, all of her energy would kind of go into me as well. So that's how my story came from. So that's kind of how I started. And secondly, I was always a person that would like stay inside my room every day and play video games because that was my escape. Because I was insecure, I didn't have any friends, I didn't have any passions, I didn't have anything. So the only thing I had back then when I was a kid is I had this little video game, and then I would spend all day after school playing this game, and I would isolate myself so I would escape reality, you know. And then as I grew older, things just started getting worse because after a certain time I had to work, and then I didn't really fit in anywhere. I chose to not get a college degree, and that got me that got me in a lot of problems with my mom because she wanted me to get a degree and I didn't get it at the time. And I always lived in a messy environment. So it was only me and my mom, but my mom, she had a lot of problems back then. And then again, she lost her she had lost her dad and her mom. And then again, a lot of things that she tried in life kind of failed. It didn't really work out, and she was very sad as a person. So we would fight and argue a lot because of it, you know. And again, I was alone. I never had anybody to talk with. Never had any person. And I kind of came from a dark side, a dark path. So I got betrayed growing up, you know. At a certain point in my life, I started some projects as well, started a company, started a business, and it failed. I went bankrupt. I had to move to another town. There was a point in my life where I actually left my mom's house. I got out of there because we were arguing so much that I had to live with someone else that I didn't even know, and it was very dark, and I got humiliated, and a bunch of things happened. And again, I grew in this fucked up house, in this fucked up reality, and on top of this, I really wasn't doing anything to get out of it. So that's where it comes from. And then it started getting worse and worse and worse because after a certain point, I met this certain person. We were dating, and then it didn't really work out. We were together for a couple of years, but didn't really work out. I divorced. So again, I struggled a lot, and then my mom passed away. So after like growing in this toxic environment, next thing I know is I saw my mom passing out. Yeah, not passing out, I'm sorry, passing away. It's because English is not my native language, guys. I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna cut the video. So she passed away. You know, she passed away. She died at 66 years old, and she was struggling. And I remember her last day, the last day of her life, she was struggling. She couldn't even fill up the tank of the car because she was struggling financially. She didn't have money for that. And that was like on the last week that we spoke. She was always worried about money, always worried about it, always worried about it. She was worried about me, she was worried about her life. And that's kind of where it came from, you know, this toxic, poor reality where we didn't have a lot of things, we didn't have anything. At a certain point, I started doing this thing called tricking, which is a sport that helped me dealing with depression, and then it kind of helped me a little bit, but I couldn't do the sport a lot of the times because I had to work, because we were poor. So I had to work a lot here, and I come from Brazil, so I used to work at a minimum wage job and everything, so I would work as much as I could to make some money, and I could not save any of this money. So again, man, it's very complicated, the situation, to explain to you guys, but that's where the basis is found. So again, man, I went through a lot of things that I wanted to do and I couldn't do. You know, like I moved from my town, went to other town. I actually lived in London for a couple of months, and then it didn't really work out the way I wanted. I had to come back to my country. I went bankrupt. All right, so I started a company, went bankrupt. So the first time when I was 16, not 16, when I was 19 years old, and then when I went to London and I tried again, it fell apart again, and then I went bankrupt again. So I was saving up money, and then I lost pretty much everything. And on top of this, I was divorced, was jobless, I was fucked up, didn't have my mom, didn't have nothing. Again, suffered through several accidents on the bike, because I used to work as a delivery pizza guy, and I had accidents as well. So it all comes down to this. And then what happened is I started really losing that spark to live, you know, because everything you try, it doesn't work out. You know, I was trying to be a professional athlete back then as well with this sport that I was trying to do, and then it didn't work out. So a lot of things that I tried failed, and you can't really help it, you know, like it's just gonna put you down because you're trying so hard, and it looks like the more you try, the more you fail, and it kind of takes your motivation, because it's one thing to fail once or twice, but it's a whole other level to be failing for years down the line, and you never see any change. So if you start something and you fail, it's okay. Maybe once or twice, it's totally fine and totally acceptable. But if you've been on this path that you're trying, like something that you're trying to follow for a dream, you're trying to follow this certain lifestyle for like 10 years, 15 years, and you don't see results, and then life keeps on passing, and the time keeps passing, and then you have more responsibilities, and you don't see it, like the project's taking off. It really takes a toll on you. And that's where my one of the reasons why I had this depression and then anxiety kind of took over me. So I was going to a very, very, very dark moment in my life, especially after my mother passed. It really made me rethink my life and what I wanted to do. And again, it's like I started losing strength to keep going and to keep fighting for my life. And I saw myself with nothing. So again, I lost my wife, I lost my job, I had no mom anymore, I had my mother anymore, I had nothing. So I was very discouraged to continue living life. And I thought about like taking my life multiple times, because there's a lot of things that I wanted to say as well, but I'm not saying right now because I think it's too deep. I don't want to expose myself too much. But a lot of things happened with me that made me want to quit. You know, everyone has their own limits, everyone has their own pain, and we know, and we're the only one that knows which pain's worse than others. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but you got it. So I hope you got it. So the way I deal with it, and I'm only saying all of this right now, is because I know that most of you guys are going through this right now. Maybe you didn't lose a loved one, or maybe you didn't go through the same things I went through, but you still have depression and still have anxiety. And we need to find ways to cope with it. And on top of this, my anxiety like came really strong because I always wanted to be something in my life. Like I wanted to, no matter how hard I had a relationship with my mother, I wanted her to be proud of me, because whether I like it or not, she raised me, she took care of me her whole life, and she gave up everything to take care of me, and all I wanted was just to make her proud. That's all I wanted. I didn't want to do any drugs. I didn't want to be a bad kid. I didn't want to be a bad person or whatever. I just wanted to make her proud, and especially after she passed. I wanted her to be like, okay, my son is a success. My son is somebody that's a good person. My son is actually helping the world in a certain way that actually helps this world in a positive way, if you get what I'm trying to say. And that's what she wanted for me. She wanted me to be successful, and that's where the anxiety came from. So I wanted to become somebody so bad that I was just thinking about the future and working as hard as I could. And even when things were not working out for me, I was still trying, and I was giving a lot of time for it. I didn't sleep. I had countless sleepless nights trying to make my projects work, and most of them failed anyway. So that's where all this deorganized, fucked up mess, I was living in this deorganized, fucked up mess, if you understand what I'm trying to say. And again, let's just go into how I deal with it. So the way I deal with it, guys, is first off, you have to understand where you are in life, and you have to have faith on you. You have to have faith that no matter your circumstances right now, you're capable of getting out of it, and you're stronger than your circumstances. No matter what you're going through right now, you are strong enough to be that person that you want to be, no matter what life throws at you. You're not a failure. And secondly, you have to find ways to cope with it. And one of the things that I do, I went back to doing the sport that I like to do. So it's like going to the gym, you're moving. So movement is one of the things that actually help you. Everybody says that, but it's so true. So any type of movement that you do, it could be a sport, you could be running, you could be jogging, you could be fighting, or you could do a martial art, or you could lift the weights on the gym, anything. So this is one of the things that will help you a lot, like down the line, down the road, I don't even know, but you got it. Like, get moving. All right, even if it's hard, even if you don't feel like moving, even if you just want to sit down and lay down on your bed and not do anything, you have to force yourself out of it. Because if you don't force yourself out of it, you're gonna stay there forever. So that's one thing: move and force yourself. Another thing is, I think, okay, I could be wrong, but it's what worked for me. I have a strength that doesn't come from me. So you have to believe in something that's greater than you. In my case, I believe in God. I don't know about you guys, but I believe in God. So sometimes you have to pull out a strength that you don't even have within yourself. And this is why I go to God. Because sometimes you just don't have the strength. Sometimes no matter how hard you say you want to do something, you just can't get out of the bed. You just can't get out of the situation. You just can't seem to move and change. And that's when God comes into the picture. And of course, you shouldn't be seeking God only when you need him, only when you're at your lowest, but you should be seeking God when you're good as well. But for those of you who are on the lowest point, like, praying to God and actually really getting close to him, building a relationship with him, could be one of the best ways for you to help and cope with it. Okay? And again, it's not something that you do only once and then you never do it again. You have to keep on building it every day consistently until you get there. And the last but not least, I would say for you to do all of these things and actually look at what you're living now. Like, who are you and what are you living now? Like, what are your passions? What are your dreams? And what do you have right now with you? And the life that you're living, are you happy with it or not? And if you're not happy with it, why are you not happy with it? Like, what's the missing piece that you need to actually fulfill your life. Like, what do you need? Do you want to make more money? Do you want to change your job? Do you want to have another career? Do you want to have more time with your family? Do you want to have a kid? Do you don't want to have a kid? Or, I mean, whatever. I messed up in here. Do you want to have a kid? Are you alone? Do you want to start a relationship? Or what are you really trying to do? You know, because the thing is, you have to distract your mind from something. You can't just sit down in your house and expect that you're gonna get better. You need to distract your mind. You know, some people, they study. One of the things that I do that helps me a lot is I study. So I like to study anything, whether it's learning a new language, whether it's actually studying for a college degree or anything, or actually study for a personal business that you're trying to build or anything. It is a way of coping with it. You can read a book. You can spiritualize yourself. You know, you can learn about meditation. All these things, they help you down the way. You know, so add it all, and but mainly see like what you're living now, what you're actually living now, and what needs to be changed. Because most likely you know why you're feeling this way, and you know what needs to be changed, and you're just not doing it. And you have your own reasons to why you're not doing this, and I totally get it, but you're not doing it. That's the fact, and it needs to be changed. So if you're unhappy, I don't know, maybe your work, maybe your relationship, maybe the place where you're living, whatever, it is something very personal. You have to look inside, and you have to acknowledge it. And then once you acknowledge it, that there is something wrong, then you can change it. Okay? And then you do it every day. Then you put focus and energy onto this, so then you can transform it. You can kill the old version, so then you can create another version of yourself that's happier, better, financially, spiritually, relationally, and everything. And I know it's easy to say. It's not that easy when you actually put that thing in practice, but you have to try, at least. Most people, they don't even try it. They just accept that they're going to be depressed forever. They don't even try to fight against it. Try and fight against it, even if you don't feel like it. And even if you can, and even if it's really hard, there's a huge resistance, I know. But try to fight. And by trying to fight just a little bit today, 1%, if you fight 1% every day, then on the long term, you're going to beat depression. You're going to get there. But mainly is you need to take care of your heart, take care of yourself, take care of your mind, and see the things that you're doing, okay? The things that you're eating. If you start creating new habits, if you start taking care of yourself, if you eat a little better, if you have healthier relationships, if you stop consuming negative stuff on the internet, what are you consuming? Are you consuming a bunch of shit like negativity, people getting cheated on, all this kind of shit, you know, all these the bad things that the media shows on TV, all that kind of shit? Like, you should really step away from it just for a little bit, just so you can take care of your mind right now, and then you're gonna start filtering like what you want to see and what you don't want to see. So then you're only consuming positive things. I'm not telling you to be blind for the world and not see what's going on, but I'm telling you to actually filter what's actually being good and what's not being good for you. And that's one of the key signs, one of the key ways for you to improve and help cope with it. And again, I know I spoke a lot. This video could have been a little bit out the window, and I'm sorry because it's not my native language, and sometimes I stutter, sometimes I don't feel comfortable because it's not my native language, and I don't dominate the language as much as I wanted to. But I hope you could get at least a little bit of the idea. And again, if you have any questions, anything to say, any you can criticize me in a good way. I don't care. It's gonna help. If it's gonna help me grow as a better video maker for you guys, then I'm down for it, you know, and I'm here for you if you're here for me. And we're all on this journey together, okay? I have to deal with it every day, and it's not easy. And if I stop dealing with it every day, I go back from zero. So it's something you have to fight with every day. And then you have to have hope and faith that one day you're gonna break out of it. So yeah, I root up for you. I hope you can get out of it. I hope you can overcome all of your fears and that you can get there in life. So yeah, I love you guys. I love you so much. Sorry about anything in this video, and I'll see you soon. Bye. Take care of your depression. I'm here for you.